So I'm talking about this 2016 New Year's resolutions. Well, people like to go out for vacations. They go to Mexico, they go to beaches and all that. Not very many people would go for a spiritual vacation. Actually, there's no such thing as spiritual vacation. Spiritual odyssey is lifetime. But the good thing about spiritual odyssey is, as I have sometimes used the analogy, you see a movie, you know stories about different people, struggles about different people, success stories about different people. A spiritual odyssey is like studying your own script, your life script, and try to write a life script for yourself, a meaningful life script for yourself. You watch a movie, you are watching somebody else's script. Do you know that you have a very unique script yourself? How did your life evolve? Where do you come from? And where would I go? Why do I have all these encounters? Why is my dad like that, my mom like that, my in-laws, my husband, my wife, my children? You're all related. It's a network. You're talking about computer. Nothing is not a network. We are all networking in here. But you may not know about it. Every thought is a network. Well, nobody would imagine what a computer can do. I still remember I was in the early 1970s. I was studying. At that time, computer was not that prevalent, and I was studying computer. And that course, I still know the name of that course, Computers and Men. That's the course I took at university. First course. There's I don't want to mention too early. You can guess my age. So sometime in the 1970s, in the early 1970s, and it says Computers and Men. And we have to do a project. What did we do? We take all these computer cards and punch in holes for them. I didn't know a thing about computer. The bits and the bytes, I still can't figure it out. And who knows computer these days? When we first know about fax machine, I was doing a radio show about the Buddhist teaching, and the boss said, "Oh, there's an invention of the fax machine now. When I broadcast news, I can get news immediately from Hong Kong. It just show in there. Fax is the most modern way now. You don't even need fax machine now." So we have been progressing. And do you know that it's more wonderful in the spirituality of life than in the materiality of life? You know how the wonders of material is. Do you know the wonders of spiritual? It's wonderful when you can see, read, write, and rewrite your own life script. And that life script is an accumulation of what? Meditations. You get in the meditation this time, you have one sitting of meditation, you experience something. You put your script down, this is what I experienced. And then you add on a second script, second, third, and finally, you get into wonders of life. Because you tap into the wisdom of the universe. You know how Buddha became Buddha? Buddha tapped into the wisdom of the universe. Not just wisdom of computers, of the universe. But nobody would tap into that wisdom. People would just like drive a Honda Odyssey. They won't drive a spiritual odyssey. Try to get that. Try to think about it. Where do I come from? Why was I born in here? Why do I experience this kind of thing? Why do I have depression? Why am I angry sometimes? How come I'm not successful? How come I'm not good enough? A lot of people say, I'm not good enough in this and that. How come I'm not good enough? How come I can't get what I want? Don't you have to know all about that? You can get that in your spiritual odyssey, and you can rewrite Nobody can write your life better than you. You can rewrite your life with new agenda, with new hope, with a lot of aspiration. You can rewrite your life, getting rid of all these garbages that you have. Start a new day, a new life, a new dawn. There's a song like that, I know. A new dawn, a new day, a new light. Get started. All right, get back to the questions. First question, do Buddhists believe in God, and do we benefit by praying to God? That's the first question. There's another question coming up from this piece of paper. Let's take the first one. Do Buddhists believe in God? You have a capitalized God. It all depends on what you mean by God. I can say, yes, Buddhists believe in God. I can say, no, Buddhists don't believe in a God. So what should my answer be? It depends on how much you understand about God. If you think that God is an external object that you should worship, you should attach your thought to, you should be compassionate with, or you should, I don't know, habitually think that what it is, that's God, then the Buddhists say there's no such thing. Don't attach to God. The God is in you. You don't have to look for it. You have the God in you. Why are you still looking for God? It depends on how you define a God. Is it the external protection that you want? I don't feel secure. I always want a God who created. There must be a creator who created me. You created the whole world. There's a simple answer to a complicated question. There's always, creation is a very complicated networking. And we humans sometimes want to give simple answers to complicated questions by saying that there must be a creator. When I make a piece of furniture, I create my piece of furniture. So thinking in that simple logic, there must be a creator. Well, not getting into the logic now, because we can go on in the debate. But I can tell you, the Buddhists say, don't believe in a habitual thinking about God. But then the Buddhists say, they believe in God. If the definition is God, is something that is so powerful, something that is creative, something that is not explainable by anything. There must be something that is account for the universe. There's some truth that I want to look for, I want to investigate, I want to find out. Why are things like that? Why are reality like that? How come when I look at an object, this is the way I look at it? You know how when you look at an object, there are three ways to look at it. You know that? I look at a flower. There are three ways of any kind of object. There are generally three ways of looking at it. The first way of looking at it is looking at it as raw experience in itself. That's a flower. It's touchable, perceptible. It's raw experience. That's a flower. Nobody would say that it's a cow. That's a dog, right? It's a raw experience. It's a flower, right? So everything is a raw experience that you experience, you contact. You can see, you can hear, you can feel, you can touch. But there are also objects that are simply created from the mind. They are not raw, real experience. The second kind of objects. If I give examples, I close my eyes, and then yesterday I met someone on the road, Mr. Chan. I called him and he couldn't answer me. Maybe he disliked me. I had an encounter with him. We don't feel peaceful about it. So you're creating Mr. Chan's images in your mind. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to meet my boss. I haven't finished my assignment. When I'm going to talk to my boss? All images. These are not actual raw experiences. These are illusions in your mind. Oh, this is God. Yesterday I saw God. That's also an illusion. Talking about God, it could be an illusory God. You're creating images in you. That's the second kind. Those are illusions. The third kind is a mixture of number one and number two. It has both a combination of raw experience and illusion. For example, in the evening, I saw someone there about 8 o'clock. It's so dark now. That's a ghost. There must be a ghost. But actually there was a guy walking in there, and he's not a ghost. That guy, a guy, is a raw experience, a guy. Your illusions throwing, reflecting on it, saying that as a ghost, is illusions. So there's a combination of illusions and raw experience. Everything would fall into that category. And it's easier to deal with crude, raw experiences than illusionary experiences. And God, that God concept, getting all these things confused up. Sometimes it's raw experiences when you say, I pray to God and I can see God. It's illusions. And then you read the Bible or the Sutra or the Holy Quran, and that is something that is raw experiences. And sometimes this is the way your internal commentator look at God and look at religions, another kind of objects. Do you know that you have an internal commentator in you? You judge everything. That internal commentator putting on lenses, putting on glasses, tainted, distorted glasses, when your internal commentator look at things. You always give commentary on everything. You like this, you dislike this. That guy is a bad guy. This is a rich guy. This is a handsome guy. This is an ugly guy. That internal commentator get into problem. So that God concept, I don't know what concepts you have. So do we benefit by praying to God? I can say yes, I can say no. If that God can give you the confidence, that protection, that security, something that you yearn for, a goal, or you define God as a compassionate person, you want to be more compassionate, and you want to increase your power, I think God, you can pray, say your prayers. No one can stop you from saying prayers. There's power, there's immeasurable powers simply from prayers. Oh, unbelievable, inconceivable powers from prayer. Their confidence. You're building up your internal confidence. Then prayer is good. However, if you're superstitiously believe in the prayer, that's no good. I say my prayer because I hate this guy John, because he left me, and I hate him. Oh God! But when I see this guy again, I'm going to do something about it. You pray to God that you want to meet him. That's no good. I mean, so why do you want me to answer some questions that I don't know? No answers for it. No answers for it. Depends on you. You can write your own answer. But an ordinary person say, do you believe in God? Yes. An ordinary person say, do you benefit by praying to God? Yes. Okay? Next question. Today's most people use computers for harmful purposes like watching movies, playing games, etc. So if I work in computer industry, is it in agreement with right living? Or I should change my job? I don't want anybody to be unemployed. So don't change your job. Unless you can find a better one. Then you can consider changing your job. If you work in a computer industry that promotes pornography, it's no good. Because every time when the youngsters, when people who are attached to sensual pleasure see that, you instigate them. You stimulate them to do, I don't know what they will do. Because they have this imbalance in them. They want to yearn for something, at the same time they will not have the circumstances to have that fulfilled. So that's the reason why there's raping, that's the reason why there is disloyalty, adultery. There could be a lot of side effects, detrimental side effects on humans if you work in pornography. A lot of psychotic behavior arising out of pornography. there's a lot of, I don't know, so many dire, unwholesome consequences from pornos, from bad movies. If your movies are only concentrating on sex and violence, I think you're going to do more harm than anything to the society. And unfortunately, I have seen more and more of the increase on sex and violence. But if you're always in promoting sex and violence, you have built in a lot of bad karma for yourself. Plus, previously your karma may not infatuated so deep as now. You know why? Because you got Google and YouTube and all that. You can access anything so easily. Previously, I still remember when we were youngsters, very young, being youngsters, we like to watch some movies that are only restricted to 18-year-old or over. And at that time, we were 17 and a half. So we got in the movie and we watched behind the shoulders to see if the parents are around and if there are any, but we sneak into the theater house. That's so difficult to do because you're still afraid, that you're still ashamed. You still have some shamelessness because you don't want to be labeled, to be stigmatized as someone who who like to go to these kind of places. But nowadays you can do it at home. You can do it anywhere. So if a movie, sex and violence movie, could get 10,000 people into infatuation, now that sex and violence movie can get 20 million people. Your karmic energy is going to be widespread. I can see a lot of people suffer in the future. Because if you are the director, if you are producers of this sex and violence, you may be affecting adversely on the society and you don't even know about it. But on the other hand, if you are talking good lectures on YouTube, Google, if you're giving good information to improve humanity, to improve morality, to improve responsibility, family cohesion, all these favorable factors in the society, you're helping the society to grow. You're helping the society to live happily. And that can also spread far and wide. So the same thing happened both simultaneously. Which one you prefer? Some people prefer to go to hell. Some people prefer to go to heaven. So I don't know what kind of industry you have. If I were you, if I'm working in the porno, I don't know, then I like to quit. Why do I have to get into this karmic energy? I like to quit. I'm only getting $25 an hour. It's not worth me to impurify my karmic energy. I want to be holier. I want to be more wholesome than someone who's always editing and cutting these things, and I don't want to do this. I would prefer a job that is more sanely, that is more favorable to humanity, that is helping humanity to grow, not helping to degrade or disgrace humanity. I would like to help Mother Teresa to help others rather than helping Hitler to kill. Which one you prefer? You have your choice. The choice is up to you. So whether you want to change your job, you think about it. Okay, final question. What are the venerable thoughts on modern medicine? I'm not a doctor. I don't know what modern medicine. If modern medicine, I don't even differentiate what is modern medicine and ancient medicine. But any medicine that is developed to improve health, well, of course we support modern medicine. If modern medicine is introduced to profiteer those manufacturers, then we don't support. But opinions on vaccination in newborn children. Are you talking about DNA and how and helping, you know, to I don't know. I don't know actually. The questions I'm not so sure, unless you want to bring it out to talk about it. We support medicine, modern medicine, if they are improving health. We don't support superstition and vaccination if they are good. So why not? Why not support it? There are a lot of doctors who are philanthropists who are working in poor countries, helping poor children. And every year we have been doing work to relieve poverty in other countries. Last year, sometime in in October, we went to Nicaragua, the second poorest country in Latin America. We went up the hill, mixed with those students, and we did a lot of donations. We helped to build reform houses for girls at risk in the street. When we were at Nicaragua, I visited a house to reform boys, but I couldn't find a house to reform girls. And I found that there are girls at risk in the streets in Nicaragua, and I talked to a Catholic father. It's a little strange. Some people said, how come two Buddhist monks going to a church to help out the Catholic fathers? I mean, what's wrong with Buddhist monks to help Catholic fathers? It's okay. So these two Buddhist monks fly all the way from Vancouver en route, exchange from Houston and then all the way to Nicaragua and visit all these places where they can channel donations that have been collected from devotees to help them. And right now we pledge to build a reform house for girls at risk in the streets. And we'll build a big compound for them. And we also we have also donated to Sick Children Hospital, because the whole Nicaragua only has 1 or 2 ambulance cars. So if there are sick children far away in the villages, they may have to wait for a month, for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. So we like to help them out, so we help out those. And we also help out students in the mountains. We actually went up to them to mix with them. I gave a speech to them, telling them about the 6 parameters: morality, meditation, patience, hardworking, concentration. Nothing religious. I try to avoid. Guys, in addition to Jesus, in addition to God, believe in Buddha. I never say that. I just say something about how to be better, how to improve life. I respect all the religions if they're doing the same job. Everyone can be the Buddha. No exception. You have that Buddha in you. You have that God in you. Don't have to look for it. But you have to explore and find out more about it. You have to review it. You got that mirror, inconceivable mirror of enlightenment in you. It's been covered for thousands of reincarnations with dust and dirt. But the power of reflectability, even though it is covered by dust and dirt of karmic energy, the reflectability is still there. You just have to get rid of the dust and dirt. If you got rid of those dust and dirt, you are God. That reflectability is God. That reflectability is Buddha. The names don't really matter. Don't label names and habitually think in a certain I don't know, biased way. Throw away the words. Get to the essence of it.
The question about computers that
you
mentioned.
Computers.
Computers.
Yeah.
Actually, what about general computer industry? Like, suppose someone is building computers and he's not working in any pornographic industry, anything, just building computers. But these computers 90% of them will be used for harmful purposes, like watching harmful movies.
I see what you mean. Yes. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Because you are working in the computer industry, and some people, many people, use the computer inventions to do unwholesome deeds. Well, when you are working as a programmer or as someone in a computer, you're not thinking of, oh, what I created, I want them to be used by all these profiteers for unwholesome deeds. You don't think that way, right? You just create something creative, and whether they use it wholesome or unwholesome way is their business. Nothing to do with your calming energy, because in your intention, you don't have that intention is what counts. Just like in law, that you have no intention of putting bad influence on people. On the other hand, you may say there are people who use it in a good way, but whether people use it in a bad way, you have no control over it. It's just like modern medicine. It's just like medicine. Some people use medicine in the wrong way, some people in the right way. But as a creator of medicine, you just want to make sure that it is used in the proper way. So I don't think you have any bad karmic energy. Just concentrate on your work to do as much as you can. And of course, if one day you've been doing something very creative and someone who is in a bad industry asks you for help, you have to find out, then what are you working for? What do you use my program for? Well, I'll use your program for this kind of unwholesome deeds, but they will roll in the billions of dollars. You say, no, I don't need the billions of dollars, because the unwholesome influence far outweigh the unwholesome consequences that will come out. I don't want to be harmful to civilization. So even though you give me billions of dollars, I would not create this for you for unwholesome means to destroy civilization, to destroy humanity. So that's on you. But you're not confronted with that right now. You're not confronted with that. So if you know about it and you still support it, then you have the intention. But if you don't know about it, you just create something out of creativity, that's good. That's very joyful. Yeah, something that is really respectable. Yeah?
May sort of kind of put the lid back on the empty garbage.
Yeah, well, in meditation, if you first start out with meditation, it always comes back to you as something tranquil and peaceful. It helps you it really helps you because you calm down and all that. But as you go, that is on the superficial level. But as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, because in the previous life, you've been accumulating a lot of karma. And all this karma is building up very strong influence in the subliminal level. So if you start to clean up all those on the surface, all the garbage you clean up, congratulations, because you have been cleaning up crude, easy to clean up garbage. And you feel so happy about it because you clean up this garbage. But as when you clean and more clean, you will find out that there's a lot more garbage from millions of reincarnations ago that have been accumulated. And they're difficult to clean up. For example, garbage of depression, garbage of fear, anxiety. So how am I going to do? Because when you meditate, you feel so fearful, so agitated, so worried about these things. So you really have to learn, continue to focus on your breath and let this go. And let this, when they come up, it's very difficult to let them go. But when they come up, you just learn, oh, this is all causation. This is all accumulated in previous years. I like to let them go and don't attach to it. You may find it extremely difficult to deal with at first, because you've been so used to, when you get depression, you simply feel crying, you simply feel sad. You can say, if every depression patient knows how to control his depression, there will be no depression patients. Depend on medication just to make you dull, If you are depressed, they just give you medications to calm down your mind, sleeping pills and all that. They force your brain to think in a very dull and unsophisticated way. But then, you don't do medication to do that. You still use that mind to practice saying, I want to let it go. Right now I'm crying. I'm more confused. I have fear. And I don't know why this fear happened. So you have to, it's difficult at first, but you still have to let it go. It's just like when someone is doing hypnosis, retrogression, light retrogression hypnosis. If someone, say for example, have a depression, and then this doctor is doing retrogression hypnosis, hypnotized, and this patient went back to about 1,200 years ago when he was a concubine of a rich merchant, for example, and that rich merchant treated him really bad, and he was always in sadness, and he was later, because of the sadness, he was buried in the sadness, and later he committed suicide. She committed the suicide, and when she was at the verge of death, he had all these things depressed that she said, I want the revenge. I don't want to be treated that way. So he had a lot of things bottled up in her. She has a lot of bottled up depression in her. So, and now she saw the whole story in the retrogression. And then she started, oh, there are causes. It's because at that time, all these circumstances make me feel like that. And now these circumstances are gone. And I don't need this anymore. I can just forget about them because they don't come back anymore. I was so involved with it that it carried that kind of feeling, carried up to now. I was attached then, I shouldn't be attached now. I was right in the experience, I suffer, but now I already past the experience. Why do I have to fall back to that experience? Maybe I should get away from it. So in a whole series of getting attacked by that depression, psychological problem, then you learn to relax it a bit, and next time, and then you may cry, and after 1 or 2 days feeling depressed, then you may, all right, you'll calm down now, and then you continue to let it go. But the Buddha gave us methods. If you engage in deep thinking of depression and cry and really get fear, you learn to go back to your breath and forget about that. Getting back your focus, your samadhi on the breath, then it's easy to forget about that. You tie the knots in there. There's millions of knots in there. So every going back to the breath is to untie that knot. So you were involved with that, you come back, untie the knot, going back, untie you, and a whole series of practicing like that. And one day, all of a sudden, you find that there's no untied knots anymore. I was so used to it, I got rid of them. And now I become free. So it's a whole process of training, getting back to your breath again, and knowing that that is sunyata, which means that it's all causation. It's not real. It's not true. It happened before. It won't come back. Don't attach to it. It's because of these circumstances that I had that happen. Probably I mistreated my husband before, and he came back for revenge. So it's just a cause and effect thing. So I should forget about that. So it's a whole series of training. You must go through that training and don't give up. So at the same time, you are studying the vipassana of it, knowing the analysis about it, and then you will be able to shift your attention to this. And if you can't really do that, you discharge your concentration. Usually that will only come when you have full concentration. You only come when you dig into the subliminal level of your garbage. Because many millions of people, they're only meditating on the surface. They haven't really got down to the subliminal part. They don't have to worry about that. They haven't really cleaned up the surface garbage. It's only for those advanced people. When you're meditating, you've gone through sunny afternoon, sunny days, and when you get deeper and deeper, you will go storms, tsunami. Once you go through those storms and tsunami, you are on your way to enlightenment. You'll be a much happier person. You're a different person, not the same anymore. You clear yourself of all this karmic energy. You only have a little bit left. You're able to be your own master. Now you are not your masters. So it's a whole process of learning. Some people comes easy, some people comes difficult. But keeping on letting go, getting back to your focus and letting go. You may cry, you may yell, you may get mad, and some people rush you to the hospital. You know in your mind that, no, I'm not mad. I just get involved with all this accumulated karmic energy. And then you come back again after crying for 10 days or struggling for 1 or 2 years. You come back again and you continue to do it. Continue to clean it. Don't give up. It's a whole process of not giving up. If you haven't encountered those difficulties, you're not at it yet. If you have not encountered stormy weather, you haven't even got to that level. You're still kindergarten.
So I'm doing good.
Huh? You're not doing good.
Doing pretty good so far.
Not yet.